This is a review of Friday night's team building activity, and basically you'll be given 6 note cards and instruct the students to list out the 6 most important events in their life. Now this activity can be tailored to do it a number of different ways. So if you want to change that description for your particular group, you could do that. In my previous video I did what did you do over Christmas break with some middle school students, and then that just got them warmed up and they're all off the wall. But it gave us a great place just to begin to get to know one another. So if you're at that surface level of just getting to know your students, then you can change up the question. But if you want to go deeper and really get to know your kids on Friday night, that's the goal of this activity, is to say we're starting off this weekend, time is short, let's get to know one another, and then that way we can start off this weekend really good. So 6 note cards. Give the students perhaps 5 minutes to write out their 6 most important events of their life. I did this myself and it took me about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more, just to organize my thoughts and then figure out what I wanted to say. So I've already written this out, but I'll write out the first card and go from there. So basically 5 minutes to get the students thinking about what they're doing, and then if each student presents 6 note cards and it takes a minute, you know, you're looking at 6 note cards at a minute each, 6 minutes times 5 students, that's like 30 minutes. So you want this activity to move along, and each student will share their story and it'll move quickly, but I think it'll feel less vulnerable, and then they just get it out there, and then you as a small group leader can follow up with more questions, or if your small group needs to go longer, then you look at the opening and the schedule and schedule more time to go deeper with this activity. So I found that having the note cards allows students to keep track of their train of thought and figure out what they're going to say. So they're going to basically look at their note cards and then hold it up and say, oh, check that out, it's backwards, because I flipped the screen around. All right, so you know, in my life, my youth group was an integral part. We went to a mission trip in Guatemala, and that solidified God's calling in my life, where He got a hold of me and kept me going. My next card, if you can see that, is college and God equipping me. I went down many different paths through college, but God kept me on the path of youth ministry despite flexible schedules. And this is totally backwards, but that's all right. When I moved up to Vail, I was part of a discipleship house, and that allowed me to live life any way that I wanted to, with accountability of seeking after God. And through that, many different opportunities came up, but I was invested in youth ministry, and then God took me out of that. And so my first 3 years in Vail Valley, I was actually in and out of youth ministry. And that was a very defining moment in my life. And then in 2008, I went to winter camp. I cried with all the girls. It was the most powerful experience of my whole entire life. Oh yeah. And in 2014, I personally I'm going through a test of leadership, and that's reflected in the students around me and our youth ministry as a church. So that's my story and where I'm at today. You can also look this up as far as going to YouTube and alright, so here we are again. You're able to read the cards now. This is a team building activity that I've tried to adapt from MTV's series If You Really Knew Me. It's the same thing as Challenge Day. Challenge Day is actually an independent nonprofit organization. If you want to kind of preview what I've tried to start on this, search YouTube If You Really Knew Me by It's Jay. There's about 1,141 views, and I did add that to our YouTube playlist for Converge. So that's really what I'm getting at. And if you prefer to follow a format from MTV's series, maybe you switch up your question, and on card number 1, you say your name and how do you define yourself. Card number 2, how people see you. Card number 3, who you really are, who you think you really are. Card number 4, example. Tell about an example of what happened in school, or somebody making fun of you, or how you wake up and see yourself in the mirror every day. Card number 5, example 2. Card number 6, where you are at now. So basically you can tailor this activity to any way. What we wanted to do is start off this out with what's your story on Friday night, and then Saturday night we're going to revisit these cards, and the students have an opportunity to add a card to their story on Saturday night. And our hope is that winter camp will be an amazing camp experience to allow them to reflect on their life or to experience God in a new way. And that next card is setting their life story in a new direction, or a direction that falls more in line with God's work and what He's doing.